York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Well, you know, as we do the deep dive here on the Rip and Read, that the subway is a hot mess, a crazy train, when all of a sudden it's featured on Saturday Night Live. And New York City is lampooned, saying you take the train, you're more likely to get pushed in front of that incoming train. A national program, I mean, is an embarrassment of all embarrassments as the temperatures plunged this week and the subway system became a moving homeless hotel and a shelter for the emotionally disturbed. It was, it's all-time worst. It's all-time worst. And naturally, even after this lampooning by Saturday Night Live, Nancy, and it doesn't get any worse than that, because naturally their staff works and lives in New York City. They broadcast from New York City, Rockefeller Center, so they're not out there in Los Angeles being chased by the fires. They're right here. They got to deal with the reality, and they're not buying the fact that it's perception, which has become the echo. You know, Kenny Vance of the Planetones, a founding member of Jay Black and the Americans, did this great song trying to find the echo of doo-wop and a cappella. And I remember as a kid riding the LL train, the lousy line then, from Canarsie into the city. And all along the way at some of the stops, Montrose, Jefferson, Lawmore, as you get off, you would hear young men doing doo-wop and a cappella, some of the great songs, trying to be, a potential singing group. And they would be in the alleyways that connected the subways or connected you to exiting upstairs. And you would hear the echo. Well, now what you hear the echo of is people screaming, emotionally disturbed persons, and people screaming for their lives trying to get away. And even with all this going on, being lampooned nationally by Saturday Night Live, it was their theme. The New York City subways are out of control. You're more likely to get pushed into an oncoming train. Remember the video of that young man, Chelsea, 23rd Street, waiting for the train, Uptown number 1 train. 2 young guys had jumped the turnstile. You saw that. They had nothing to do with him being pushed into the tracks. But they do what almost everybody does now, not pay your fare. So they jump over and they're standing there. And they watch this crazy black guy come up behind this white guy who's like looking at his cell phone. Next thing you know, the train is coming. Poosh! And we figured that's it for this poor guy. Oh, my God. And I've seen some of these when they're jumpers, when they actually want to commit suicide that way. It's a horrible death. I've seen that here in New York City. I've seen that in London with the Guardian Angels, Tokyo. It's a horrible death. Somehow, some way, Nancy, he was pushed underneath the incoming train. They had no chance the subway train to stop and was injured severely, but not killed. Turns out this guy was grabbed, and when his father was asked, "What's wrong with your son?" he goes, he was buying that weed and they put something in the weed. Your son was buying weed and they put something in the weed that made him do this. Then we find out he had all kinds of psychiatric problems. He had other problems with the criminal justice system. It always seems to get down to the fact that this city and this state has decided that rather than house emotionally disturbed persons in mental health facilities like Creedmoor. We're going to talk about a Creedmoor situation coming up, and others that are only about 30% occupied. They're run by the state. They would much rather have them out in the streets, out in the parks, and riding on the subways and living in the subway stations like Jordan Neely. Remember how we were shown the video over and over that he was in Times Square, he was in the subways imitating Michael Jackson. And that is true many, many years ago. In fact, our leader of our Junior Guardian Angels program, a super stretch up in Washington Heights, said, yeah, one Christmas, he came over and performed the Michael Jackson routine. He lived right down the block. That's when he was okay. And then within a period of 10 years, he deteriorated, smoking K2, schizophrenic, and ends up threatening people, if you remember, on that F train, that a guy that now, you say his name, Daniel Penny, everybody recognizes him, but was a Marine who had left the service, honorable discharge, was trying to get a job as a bartender, was living in the city, and he puts the guy in a chokehold to restrain him from doing the things he was threatening the people that he would do. Unfortunately, Jordan Neely dies, and his whole family emerges with concerned. Meantime, they weren't concerned before that. And he was a ward of the subways. The MTA runs the subways, the state, and actually you didn't hear anything from Kathy Crime Wave Holcomb then. But Alvin Bragg indicted him. Manslaughter charge too, criminally negligent homicide. What? And ever since then, there's been a Daniel Penny effect of people getting involved and coming to the aid of their fellow passengers. But it is an absolute hot mess. And what is the mayor saying?
We have a safe subway system. Transit police officers, they have done their jobs. What we must do is remove the perception of fear. Cases like this aggravates the perception of fear. When you see homeless individuals with mental health issues not being attended to and given the proper services, that add to the perception of fear. And so what our battle is in the subway system is fighting the perception of fear that cases like this could happen. And we're doing that.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the K2's for, right?
Could the guy say perception any more than that? I mean, every time there's a crime in the subway, and you're going to give us an idea of some of the crimes that have just transpired just over the last 72 hours, it's perception. And then there's a drip-down effect. So the brand new police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, passed the Great Poupon. Jeeves, could you fetch the stretch limo? You don't think I'm taking the subway down to One Police Plaza. She knows nothing about the subways. And she also, like a parrot, repeats, well, crime is down the last 2 years in the subways. Then the guy who's in charge for the state, Janet Lebo, who lives in a mansion in Brooklyn, the town car picks him up every day with 4 armed MTA police officers. He never rides the subway, never takes the buses. He says it's all in our head. It's all in our head. These headline cases, but really crime is down. You're really safe. And then we've seen pictures of people who seem to have Velcro cups on their back. I mean, attached to the walls, waiting for the train to come in. And they continue. Could I hear Adams again? How this is our perception.
We have a safe subway system. Transit police officers, they have done their jobs. What we must do is remove the perception of fear. Cases like this aggravates the perception of fear. When you see homeless individuals with mental health issues not being attended to and given the proper services, that add to the perception of fear. And so what our battle is in the subway system is fighting the perception of fear that cases like this could happen. And we're doing that.
Yeah. Are they removing the homeless? Are they removing the emotionally disturbed? Before I banned you from taking the subways weeks ago, Nancy, when I told our ownership and management here, hey, I'm sorry, when Nancy joins me, she's going to have to Uber or taxi. I will not allow her in the subways. And first time in our marriage that you did not argue with me. How bad was it before you stopped riding the trains?
Well, it's bad. I mean, it's quite bad. So this past Friday, this was 7:30 in the morning, the RW Cortlandt Street. This is right downtown. A woman, 66 years old, she's just entering the station, standing near the turnstile area, and some guy comes in with a golf club, like a wooden golf club.
Oh, you mean a Big Bertha? You know, the big driver there. Are you sure it wasn't Andrew Giuliani? Because he takes the train down there. You sure that wasn't? He's always playing golf with President Donald Trump.
They had video of the guy. It didn't look like him, but
no.
He apparently walks in with the golf club, so it really wasn't a question of whether he paid his fare or not. It's just
of course he didn't pay his fare.
Apparently, walking in with weapons is now acceptable. So he walked in. There was no words that were said between him and the woman, and he just hits her in the head and then leaves, and he just ran off into the daylight, to not be seen ever again.
So the guy is down in the Wall Street area, World Trade Center.
But if anyone sees someone walking around with a golf club, you call the cops.
Not just a golf club. It's a Big Bertha. Have you ever seen the Big Bertha? It looks like the size of a desk attached to a golf club.
Yeah, it's like what they call it fairway wood for some reason. Like it's this huge, odd-looking thing.
Yeah, I would ban it. It's such an unfair advantage. I remember the first time I played golf, I have to admit to this. Uh-oh. My mom, Francesca, when she was pregnant with me, she had a job for AT&T as a telephone operator. You had to go to a central location, split shift. In between the split shift, she started playing golf. She had no desire to play golf. You know, this is what happens when you're pregnant. You know, pickles with ice cream, playing golf. My father said, the hell, you never expressed an interest in playing golf. Oh, yeah, I want to play golf. She had wooden clubs. Wooden clubs. Which she had the bag in the basement of our house in Canarsie. And it was all wood, not just the drivers. I mean, it was like the wooden 2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron, 5-iron. All of that, plus the sand wedge was wood. Everything was wood. And so I went out golfing. Marine Park, which is one big sand trap. And after a while, I got frustrated with the game, but I guess it was in my DNA briefly. I got to say to you, you're walking around with a Big Bertha. You're down in the Wall Street, World Trade Center area. You're ready to go catch the R train in Cortlandt. And again, I want to see video. I want to see photographs because, you know, Andrew Giuliani lives down there. He's always talking about how good he is off the tee with the Big Bertha, you know, when he plays with President Donald Trump all the time. He was with us in Staten Island earlier. We'll talk about that later. But this guy is walking around. He's swinging it around. The cops didn't even take it from him. They don't. Nancy, you said, oh, they'll take it. No. No, they don't take it. You could be walking around swinging a sand wedge, right? 5-iron, a Big Bertha. You're clearly out of your mind. This guy is emotionally disturbed. Swinging it around. Ah! Yeehaw! Right? Oh, well, you know, it's just...
Yeah, and usually if someone's going to play golf, you would see like a set of clubs, not just a singular one in their hands.
Well, let's not encourage him to be carrying around a set of clubs. But
no, I'm saying at least he didn't even look the part.
Right, and they generally look like Andrew Giuliani, right? With a bag of clubs, you know.
The khaki pants.
Right. Oh, that whole look, right. This guy is clear. He's drooling from the mouth. He's got a face mask on. Thank you very much for removing the face mask. Kathy Crimeglave Holcomb and Eric Adams, Swaggerman, finally with a plan to get a pardon from Trump. They do it in Nassau County, but they don't do it here. And the guy's on the lam. He's going to do this again.
Wait, the face mask thing?
Yeah, he's gonna hit somebody else in the head. You think he's giving up that Big Bertha club?
I don't know if I agree with the face mask thing. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, next time a guy comes up on you with a face mask and he clocks you in the street with a golf club and they say, what did he look like?
No, I'm saying I didn't like when they legislated it the first time around, and I don't like it in the reverse either. I don't think they should be telling people to wear or not wear something on their face.
No, I understand that. But in this case, other than...
And there's a lot of people I've noticed that go on the trains where you can tell maybe like they're a little bit of a delicate sensibilities. So when you see them, like, I would love to see someone try to enforce that with... I really think there are people who are genuinely concerned about getting sick on the train.
Well,
and for good reason. Like, it's crazy down there.
The smell of urine, defecation.
I mean, people are living down there.
Vomit. I mean, everywhere. It's a horror.
I made the mistake once of actually, at one time, using the elevator. I'll never do it again. And it was, besides smelling horrific, as the elevator is going up and you're like in this steel box, you can't see out. But I can hear some guy screaming before the door's about to open. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's nowhere to go. Like, I'm right. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's guy just got stabbed 5 times, 149th Grand Concourse number 5 train. I mean, we operate patrols out of there. But have no fear, because the cavalry is coming. You know, they started last Monday with 150 cops, paired in twos, they say, patrolling every moving subway train from 9 o'clock at night to 5 in the morning, right? I've not seen them. I've not seen the National Guard. All these things that they claim they're doing.
Well, the stabbing that happened today at the Grand Concourse, like you were saying, that happened at 11 o'clock. So those people would have been off duty.
That's right, 11 a.m. in the morning. See, generally these kind of crimes used to occur in the wee hours. Now it's broad daylight.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And the guy got stabbed like 5 times.
Yeah, multiple stab wounds, and the perpetrator was able to just run away and just leave the scene.
Well, wait, there's cameras everywhere, so he waves at cameras. Hey, you can't touch me.
Yeah, right. They can't do anything really about it stopping it at the front end, but they'll have a great picture of you running away.
Yes, great picture. They'll run it on television. You can tell, oh, you see what I did? I stabbed that blankety blank 5 times. Why?
And as usual, the great description, right? Wearing a red sweatshirt, black vest, dark pants, and dark shoes.
By the way,
good luck, folks.
What about the color of his skin?
No, they don't know. We have no idea.
Never. It's like, how the hell are you going to find this person? But anyway, that's just one of many crime problems in the naked city. And boy, I feel so good that the man leading us is going to actually help us eliminate the crime in the subway system is the swagger man now seeking, finally, he has a plan to get a pardon from President Donald Trump. I know this is a bit tedious, laborious, repetitive, but I want you to hear again what this idiot, this complete, self-consumed, it's perception, I know. You're all imagining these things. You think anybody's coming up on him with a Big Bertha golf club ready to clock him in the head? No, he's got 12 armed security guards, police officers with him always. One more time, please. Matt Blaze, who yourself sound like you're a fugitive from justice, like maybe ICE has warrants for you as a Bosnian Serbian terrorist. We'll find out soon, because ICE is coming to a neighborhood near you. And guess what? Ain't nothing you can do to stop them the way it should be. We'll get to that later on in the deep dive here. But let's hear from the mayor again about these series of crimes that occurred over the weekend.
We have a safe subway system. Transit police officers, they have done their jobs. What we must do is remove the perception of fear. Cases like this aggravates the perception of fear. When you see homeless individuals with mental health issues not being attended to and given the proper services, that add to the perception of fear. And so what our battle is in the subway system is fighting the perception of fear that cases like this could happen. And we're doing that.
Yeah, you're good with that perception crap.
I guess it's easier to fight a perception than the actual crime itself.
By the way, earlier today we were in Staten Island. We'll talk about that later on. We were at the Annandale.
Annandale Terrace, it's called.
Yeah, and you know who was sitting there having a meal, I was assuming with his family, was Chief of the Department John Schell, who, for some reason, is no longer able to come on the radio and speak on behalf of the department. There's problems at One Police Plaza, Nancy, because he and this guy, Kaz Daughtry, who's in charge of all the drones that always follow me around whenever I give a speech outdoors. I know right away when I'm giving a speech outdoors, even if it's not about the migrant issue, it's something completely unrelated. What's hanging over my head? A Kaz Daughtry Chief Shell drone. And I wave to it, and I say, you can come down a little closer. I want Eric Adams to hear exactly what I'm... It's so ridiculous. So he's waving at me through the window. I said, yeah, keep waving, pal. Right? You ain't going to be on the job soon. You're going to be off. And this has gone nutty. So Nancy was actually there. I was talking with my very dear friend, State Senator Andrew Lanza, who's like the number 2 most important guy in Staten Island, behind the borough president, Vito Fossella. They're like equal. And then, of course, Nicole Malliotakis, the congresswoman, she has the most of the powers of political office. But this guy's been there forever. So he told me something that shocked the living daylights out of me. When Michael Kemper left as the transit police chief, very dear friend of Sid Rosenberg, and a guy I've known for years when he was deputy inspector of the 7-5 precinct, he left in late September and he became the MTA security operator. Whatever the hell that means. Sounds like almost like a no-show job. What security? Come on, Mike. I'm leading an effort to bring him back. That's right. I am leading. Tomorrow morning, when we celebrate Sid Rosenberg's 9th anniversary of broadcasting here at WABC, people didn't think he would survive 9 months because of his, let's just say, very inconsistent broadcast career before that. I'll let Sid explain all that in the morning. But his very dear friend, Michael Kemper, a fellow landsman, invited me to the 2nd Avenue Deli, which is really on 1st Avenue, showing how Jews are confused. 2nd Avenue Deli is on 1st Avenue. What the hell is that? But anyway, he said, I want Curtis to come. We're going to have lunch and discuss transit issues. Nobody knows the subways better than Curtis. He's right. He's right. Do you know he was told by Eric Adams, you have a lunch with Curtis Sliwa. You can find a new job, pal. And so that invitation was pulled off the table. I am going to suggest that we bring Michael Kemper back because he's already working for the MTA. The guy they have there now, I was talking with State Senator Andrew Lanza. He said, it's the transit police chief. Guys, every time I'm down there, I ask the transit cops, who is the transit police chief who replaced Michael Kemper? They all knew Michael Kemper. They don't know who the transit police chief is now. State Senator, you remember when he told me?
Yeah.
I went nuts. He said, Joe Galata. What? Not the former borough commander of Staten Island, Joe Galata. When the hell did he even ride his subway? He never even rode the Staten Island Rapid Transit train, that goes to Tottenville from the ferry. I went absolutely apoplectic. They had to drag me out of the room. I was screaming. No wonder things are completely out of control. They don't even know who this guy is. This guy was the Staten Island borough commander. Never rode a subway in his life. And he's in charge of the transit police. And notice, since he took over for Michael Kemper, what have we had? Oh, my God, the guy was shoved in front of the train. Poor woman, say her name. Patricia Kumar. Say her name. And it's like one crime after... Nobody knows this guy. He knows nothing about transit. And let me tell you, slowly I turned step by step when State Senator Andrew Lanza was reminiscing with me to September of 2023. I arrived outside of Midland Beach. Remember, that's the facility that Eric Adams kicked all the veterans out of. These were men and of the greatest generation, World War II, the few survivors, Korean War. They and their families were told, you got a month to find new accommodation. Get the hell out of here. Pack your bags because my buddies, the illegal aliens, are coming out here. So naturally, we started demonstrating. The community was there every night. John Tobacco, Scott Lebedo, and then I would come. And we'd fire up the people there, and we wanted those illegal aliens out of there, and we wanted the veterans brought back. Who the hell would be opposed to that? You know who would show up and start screaming at everybody? This guy, who's now the transit police chief, Joe Galata. Joe, I will not stop until you're back in Staten Island, patrolling the Staten Island ferry terminal. And this guy got upset one day, because he was probably having a free meal on Highland Boulevard. You should see the guy. You'll know what I'm talking about. And when I got there and I saw him, he had the red stain, on his white shirt, he got the free spaghetti and meatball dinner. And then all of a sudden, there was some arguments going on down there between the residents and the cops. And he comes down and he lock them all up. What? There's a woman playing. Couldn't believe this. Kate Smith, God bless America, from her porch of her private home across the way. You either turn that off or you're arrested. He ordered this woman to be arrested?
Oh, my gosh.
State Senator Andrew Lanza is still in court on this issue. He ordered this woman to be arrested on a private property for playing Kate Smith, God bless America. If she was playing Te Bote, I bet you if she were playing this music, like so many of the illegal aliens, it's 3, 4 in the morning, they're playing their bachata, they're driving around in their cars, there's no plates, no registration, no license. They got refrigerators on the top strapped to the big boom boxes. And what are they playing? They're playing this crap. You think Joe Galata did anything about this? Hell no. That's your right to do this. Welcome to America, where you have invaded Staten Island, and because of you, veterans are kicked out into the streets, Joe, and you came to the defense of the illegal aliens. You lock up a woman playing God Bless America from her porch, Kate Smith's version, the one I love, and it's still being adjudicated. This guy is in charge of the transit police. Never took a subway in his life. That's right, play this song. Hey, this is for you, Joe Galata, head of the transit police. It'll be my mission to get you back to Staten Island, patrolling the North Terminal of the Staten Island Ferry. God bless you, State Senator Andrew Lanza, for reminding me. She got arrested for this. Ordered by Joe Galata, who was borough commander of Staten Island, with the spaghetti stains, the ragu stains on his white shirt. What a piece of work. But see, this is what happens in the Eric Adams administration. If you're an ass kisser, if your lips are sealed to his tuchus, a friend of Eric Adams, he puts you in charge of the transit police. Like he had Jeffrey Madry in charge of the police department, who was saying to the females who work in the police department on the 13th floor, hey, baby, you want to give me a little pleasure, a little sugar, and I'll give you lots of OT. Friends of Eric Adams. Joe Galata, transit police chief, you are disgraziato. God bless all the residents of Midland Beach. God bless you. And those veterans kicked out into the streets, we'll get you back in there. We will get you back into your home.
WABC.
Check this out. No one knows New York better. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa.
And you can't compete against that.
On 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I'd go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away, haha, they're coming to take me away.
You don't hear this song any longer. Actually debuted on WABC when we were spinning stacks of wax back in the late 60s, early 70s. But it was always synonymous when we were growing up with people who are emotionally ill, and you would send people with white jackets. I remember seeing in Canarsie, right down the block from us, a guy was having an episode. He was attacking his mother. His father had died in a construction accident years before, He was acting up. His mom could not control him. Police responded, 69th precinct. And then, believe it or not, guys in white coats in a white van came and took him to the psychiatric facility at Kings County. I don't ever know what happened to him. See, unfortunately, back then, once they would snatch you up, you might never see them again. And that had to change because those facilities were scary. I remember going past them as a child, and even now as an adult. Some of them are empty now. You have out in Brentwood, Central Iceland, Pilgrim State. Oh, God. Greystone out in New Jersey. By the way, in the opening scenes of this new movie about, the guy is like, I don't know how you could even understand him. You know, he's considered like the top American, I guess you could call him the top American folkster singer of all time now. Coming out of Hibbett, Minnesota, went to the University of Minnesota, Bob Dylan. When he came to New York, he was not yet famous, and he wanted to see Woody Guthrie, who was the great folk singer of America. Communist, very left-wing, lived in Coney Island, but was in Greystone because he had perpetual mental health problems. He was also housed in Creedmoor for a while. But Bob Dylan said, I want to see him. It's in the opening scenes. Man, Greystone's scary. I mean, think of Shawshank Redemption, the old prison, right, as a psychiatric facility. Really scary places. So then we had a situation where we decided, let's let them loose, send them back to their families. It's better if their families take care of them because these institutionalized facilities, they were just horrible. It started, remember, with actually probably became the most infamous of places, mostly for young adults and adults, out not far from where we were in Staten Island today. Geraldo Rivera made his reputation in going over the fence and all of a sudden exposing to us what was going on behind the walls. It was a state mental health facility.
Willowbrook, right?
Willowbrook, correct, for children, young adults, adults. The year before, Robert F. Kennedy was there when he was our senator, and he had said to the state, you either fix this up or we're going to close it up. And so Geraldo Rivera wasn't going to wait. And that expose, it was good, but there was an overreaction. They threw the baby out with the bathwater, and they started closing these facilities, sending these persons who could not control themselves to their families who couldn't control them. Then the next thing you know, where were they? Out in the streets, the subways, the parks, and it's an endless cycle. So I want to share with everybody this one story. Because you notice there's almost no exposés. You never see like undercover. We went into Kirby, the psychiatric facility for the criminally insane, which is right on Randall's Island. You're driving by as you go to the Triborough Bridge. You see that big white building. I think it used to be in the opening credits of Ben Casey. It's a scary place. I've been inside there. I've been inside the main building at Creedmoor. I shouldn't have been. Basically, they don't allow you in. But I've had guardian angels over the years. Once they've left, they've remained in contact and they work. And they say, you want to come by and check it out, especially when I was running for mayor the first time. Whew. What goes on in there? Like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? The Shining with Jack Nicholson? Yes. And there are tactics that are used sometimes to control the clients, the patients, because those patients are out of control when they don't take their medication. You have to restrain them. So I guess we really don't want to see what goes on in those places, just as long as you take them. And the people who have to work there, incredible situations they're exposed to. And the families who have to visit their loved ones there, But there are not just the psychiatric facilities that deal with persons who cannot control their mental faculties and are a danger to themselves and everyone else. But sort of, I guess you could call it like a halfway house. They're on the grounds of the psychiatric facilities. They're supportive housing. And you go there, and sometimes you get better because you're taking your medication, get your therapy. You're allowed to leave the grounds. But you need that constant therapy. You need someone giving you the medication, forcing you to take it, because a lot of them will not take their medication. So I want to give you the sad story of a 63-year-old man who's no different than any of us. Remember the name, Gio Capelli. And you say, who's Gio Capelli? Well, he ended up getting killed at this supportive housing program on Creedmoor Psychiatric Center's campus. It's on Winchester Boulevard in Queens Village. It's the low-rise facilities. Let me give you a little bit of his background, Nancy. He grew up across the street from Peck Park, beautiful place in Fresh Meadows, and he played a variety of sports. He was very active. Everybody loved this guy. He went to Francis Lewis High School, and he did very well. And he was very attentive and very involved, Gio Capelli. Then he left, and he trained to work for Merrill Lynch and began to work afterwards in the steam division of Con Edison, where he remained for 10 years. So he had a good job. He was right by Big Bertha in Astoria. Had a really good job. Then all of a sudden, he had a little side work as a landscaper, and then decided to become a home health aide. And it was good because he was taking care of his mother, who he was living with, until her death in 2011. And that's when the wheels fell off. And I've seen this before. More so when children, older children, lose their mothers than their fathers. Because if they're living with their mother, they may have already lost their father, they really become tighter than they were when they were children, because the mother is now dependent on the child. And boy, he was really dedicated to his mother. He started to fall apart, suffering from anxiety and deep depression. Friends of his say he took a turn for the worse. They tried desperately to call him, to come over to his house, to console him. They got him a dog, a pit bull named Bricks, and soon Bricks became Gio Capelli's closest companion. The dog was therapeutic to him. He would walk in the streets. He wouldn't talk to any human beings anymore. He would just talk to his pit bull, who was not violent at all, Bricks, a lovable dog, according to everybody in that Queens community. But somehow, some way, the anxiety really began to take its toll. And he had to be committed to Creedmoor. And he would have his good days, and he would have his bad days. On his good days, he could leave the campus there, and he could walk out and function like probably was on a bus or a train with you, and you would never know it. He's not like screaming, out of control. He's somewhat normal. And then other days, he wouldn't leave the facility. They'd say, hey, don't you want to go out, Gio Capelli? No. And the anxiety would grip him. So the other day, he's sitting down because they all become friends. You know, it's like living in a halfway house, so to speak. They're not prisoners, but it's like a halfway house. And this other guy who recently he had befriended, a guy named David Zhang, a Chinese guy, but fluent in English. They were pals. Then all of a sudden had a psychotic episode and choked him to death. Killed him. And when they came to arrest him, David Zhang didn't even remember what he had done. And the people there who were with him, they loved both of them. They were like, oh, David, what did I do? He had demons. He was hearing demons. And it turned out that when David was living in that halfway house there, for those who have some mental health problems, they would be on the intercom system saying, David, got to take your medication. I see you didn't drop by to take your medication. When he was on his medication, he was no threat to anybody. When he was off his meds, he strangled to death his best buddy, Gio Capelli, who grew up right in Fresh Meadows. And many of you might have actually played ball with him growing up, went to join ROTC in Francis Lewis Boulevard, worked with him in Merrill Lynch, worked with him at Con Edison. He was a home health care aide for his mother. And the moment his mother died, everything fell apart. Well, Gio Capelli's funeral, it was a graveside service. It was held in Farmingdale on Friday, the same day that his buddy Zhang returned to Queens Criminal Court, charged with murder. Two different stories at Creedmoor. You would never hear about them if I hadn't talked about them. Because I understand these people. I've been with these people. At times, they're as normal as any of you. This guy grew up just like the rest of you out there. Lost his mother. God, we know what it's like when you lose your mother. You hold on. But some, they get so traumatized. Anxiety, depression grips them. They need their medication. They need therapy. Thank God for a while, Bricks, his pit bull, enabled him to lead a bit of a normal life, and then he just crashed. We got to help these people. We don't give them enough money. We don't pay enough attention to these mental health facilities. So today's program is dedicated to a guy named Gio Capelli. Many of you are probably hearing him for the very first time. You say, oh, no, I went to school with him. I played Little League Baseball with him. The guy was a great ball player. I worked with him in Con Ed in the steam division at Big Bertha. I worked with him at Merrill Lynch. And now he's dead. Victim of a crime. Imagine to strangle somebody to death who was your buddy. And he heard demons. And I believe this one. David Zhang did not even know that he killed his best buddy on the day that Gio Capelli was being buried.
WABC.
New York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, Matt Blaze. I know you love Welcome Back Carter, right? It's a real true story of a guy who went to New Utrecht High School in Bensonhurst when it was mostly Italian, although obviously when your name is Kaplan, you're a Jewish guy. But that was the minority there. And he had gone to New Utrecht High School and he left for 10 years and then came back and wanted to be a teacher and was assigned to the top floor for the Sweat Hogs. You know, Travolta and the rest of them. Horshack, and I know. And these was special ed kids. They didn't call them special ed. Let's face it, they had problems. It was a great show, but it was a real high school. They called it some other school, I forget. But that was actually New Utrecht High School. And for the first time, I was there on Saturday in the auditorium. I played one time on that football field, crappiest football field that anybody ever played on. They fixed it up since. But a real neighborhood high school. Now, back then, Italians, Jews. Now it's like 60% Chinese. And I was there for the swearing in of a new Republican state senator, Steve Chan. We call him Chan the Man, former NYPD cop, former Marine. And as part of that red wave that's taking over that area, Republicans, law and order. Law and order is the key. And I'm sitting there, and I'm with all the old-timers who had gone to that school, alumni members, mostly Italian. Tell me about all the wise guys who went there. Joe Colombo, Italian-American Civil Rights League. Sammy the Bull Gravano. Mikey Scars DiLeonardo. That's the guy. That's how John Gotti Jr. ended up getting charged with my kidnap and attempted murder, was because Mikey, in making a deal, gave him that information. But put that aside. There was a woman, Nancy, who came up to me. Very impressive. Vivian Barreto, proud Puerto Rican, lived in Sunset Park, which, as you know, is not far from where you lived. Where did you live when I first met you? Mostly the Chinese section there.
Well, when I first met you, I was in Manhattan already, but I had been living in Sunset Park around 8th Avenue, like in the mid-40s.
Lots of Chinese.
Yeah, it's all Chinese.
So she and her family and her father, Ephraim Barreto, they lived up right near, you probably remember, we passed that church before, Our Lady of Perpetual Help.
That is a huge church.
60 and 5th Avenue.
Yeah.
The guy was 82. He's crossing the street right by the church. And a guy on a moped spins around, unlicensed, uninsured, unregistered. They didn't even test him to see if he was impaired at all. Shame on you, 72nd Precinct. And he hits Ephraim Barreto, proud American, proud Boricua, 82 years old. Love that neighborhood, as Vivian continues with his cause. Guy had 3 previous cases. I mean, a hot mess. He's 32 years old. His name, Abed. I know the ethnic group. Whenever you're an Abed. Okay. And they just cut him loose. Cut him loose.
That's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Who is the DA who claims he's tough? Gonzalez, right? Eric Gonzalez. I'm tough. I'm not like Alvin Bragg in Manhattan. Hey, you're a wuss. So they cut this guy loose like they cut everybody loose in Brooklyn. Doesn't get the same attention as Manhattan because that's the most powerful prosecutor's office in the nation. They made law and orders based on that. But Brooklyn has the most caseloads. You used to actually work in criminal court 100 Skimmerhorn Street, right?
That's true.
You were defending people charged with crimes.
That I was.
How busy was it there, Skimmerhorn Street?
Oh, it's busy. It's open all day.
And most everything is a plea bargain, right? It almost never goes to trial.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you would have thought that Eric Gonzalez, he's got this guy by the short hairs, right? He's got this guy. This guy ain't running back to the Middle East. Apparently he worked at a store. They knew where he was. And it's like, there's going to be the case adjudicated Tuesday. We got to make sure we're there, Nancy. We got to make sure that this Vivian Barreto is everything we want citizens to be engaged. And she's not like just filled with anger and revenge and a vendetta. I get all of that. I would be. But she really wants justice done because she said, there have been like 1,000 collisions every year. People getting seriously injured. People dying, like I think 12 last year. Robert Holden, our friend, city councilman, unfortunately term limited out in Middle Village, Glendale, and Maspeth. He's been in the lead of this against the Department of Transportation appointee of Eric Adams, swagger man, finally with a plan to get a pardon from Donald Trump. Idanis Rodriguez, who doesn't want these people licensed, insured, registered. Just basically, hey, get on your moped. Idanis says, get on your moped, get on your e-bike, go riding around. There was that time, in fact, we related it here, you had temporarily gone blind. You really thought you were blind. And thankfully, the doctor who's always here for us, Mikolos, I called him, Mikolos, you were blind. I was having to escort you home, walking. We had to get out of the cab, remember? You couldn't see. You were terrified. And he hooked us up at Columbia Presbyterian with this guy out of an old movie, German guy, old movie, had the tweed jacket on. He only comes in once a week. He's a specialist. And he fixed you up so you could see again. But, I mean, when I was taking you one other time, remember this I guess, moped, e-bike, whatever, was coming right at you as we were crossing the street. And being the good husband that I am, that's right, Matt Blaze, I took the hit in front of a lot of people. And I wasn't going to go down. I couldn't go down. I'm Curtis Sliwa, right? But, man, it rattled my bones. Now, it happened to be a female who wasn't able to stop in time, but it's motorized. It's not like when you're a normal bicycle, like we grew up as kids, you could stop a lot easier. No, these are like on 20, 25 miles an hour. I mean, it hit me. It rattled my bones from the tip of my nose to the tip of my toes. And I realized I could not show any weakness. But man, I said, what the hell am I going to do? I could barely walk. And we got you to your appointment. And thanks to Dr. Mikolos and his friend, the German doctor, who only sees patients once a week. Man, it's like, what was that scene, Humphrey Bogart, in that movie Casablanca? I thought I was in Casablanca. What? Is gambling in Casablanca? He looked like one of those. I mean, he was right out of a movie in the 30s and 40s. And, well, he restored your vision, thank God. But I really got clipped. You know who else? The rabbi who's in charge of the annual Israeli Support Israel Day parade, Rabbi Miller, was a guest with Joe Potasnik, Rabbi Joe Potasnik, and our Reverend, A.R. Bernard. He got hit in Brooklyn. He was hospitalized for weeks. This is one of the biggest connected men in New York City. Everybody loves Rabbi Miller because he's always so nice to everybody, even if he's at odds with you. This guy is so nice, he would give a diabetic insulin shock. And he was describing to Rabbi Joe Potasnik and A.R. Bernard the suffering he went through. The guy hit him and just kept going. Now, this guy can pick up the phone and call Eric Adams, and Eric Adams is going to assign a detail to try to find this guy. They never did. This is happening all over the city. We got to help Vivian Nancy. We really do. To memorialize Ephraim Barreto, 82, a great American. And remember, when you're Puerto Rican, by birth, you're American. Don't ever forget that out there. And this guy was as patriotic as they come. Right outside of Our Lady of Perpetual Help, 60 and 5th. How many of you went to school there, got your confirmation, your communion, got married there, went to burials from there, funeral masses? We got to do it. And this guy, Abed, he was offered a plea. You know what he told the judge? I ain't taking no freaking plea. I'm innocent. They didn't even test them at the site. You would have thought, okay, guy could be impaired, right? Could be on drugs. It's a tough one when it's drugs, but it's a hell of a lot easier if they've been boozing it up, right? They just let him go. Yeah, cop, 72nd precinct. Yeah, let him go. And they gave him his freaking moped back right at the site. These cops are not doing their job. Oh, I know you make excuses. Oh, you know, their morale is... This is a simple no-brainer. You take the freaking moped. It's evidence. You test the guy for drugs. A tough test, but you can give him an alcohol test, drunken driving test, unlicensed, uninsured, unregistered, 3 prior cases, and you cut the guy loose. He's offered a plea finally. And he goes, I ain't taking no freaking plea because he knows he's going to get cut loose.
Check this out. No one knows New York better. The founder of the Guardian Angels, Curtis Sliwa.
And you can't compete against that.
On 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
Whoa, whoa.
God, here they are again.
Paso muchas noches pensándote. Yo no sé ni cómo ni cuándo fue, pero solo sé que yo recordé cómo te lo hacía y aquella vez. Si yo no puedo seguir solo, pero sé que te boté de mi vida, te boté.
If I can just borrow the words of our great colleague. Oh, yeah, Dominic Carter. He loves Ice Ice, baby. Ice Ice. Every time he hears of an arrest that is conducted by Tom Homan, fellow New Yorker, not from the cities, upstate, little town near Fort Drum. I mean, this guy's a pit bull, man, Tom Homan, man. He says we're coming for you. We're Ice, Ice, baby. Dominic gets all Ice, Ice, baby. But he's right. Man, They're on a tear here. First off, let's go to the Rocky Mountain state of Colorado. Nancy, you were with me visiting the Denver Guardian Angels. You remember on Colfax?
I do.
We had a very good time there, although the city is like just overrun with homeless, emotionally disturbed, and illegal aliens. And remember how the mayor in Denver, Nancy, said, "You come, Tom, you bring it to me. You're going to have to arrest me and every elected official in Denver and Aurora because we're standing up against you." Yeah. And remember the governor in the state capitol? Remember I showed you the state capitol at Colfax across from the Catholic Cathedral? I'm going to get to the Catholics momentarily because J.D. Vance lit them up. Boy, did I get hell every time I took on the Catholic Church and Catholic Charities over bringing in illegal aliens. And now J.D. Vance, our vice president, said, "You made $100 million on this. You're going to attack? You're going to criticize Curtis Sliwa for that? Or you attack the vice president?" But anyway, let's put that aside issue. So the governor, actually, I think he's the first gay governor in Colorado. It's a real different kind of a state. Some places you go, they're very conservative. Up near the Air Force Academy, Colorado Springs, very conservative. A lot of holy rollers, evangelicals. Boulder, 2020. That's where that came about. That's Matt Blaze's national holiday, right? April 20th, right? 420, Am I right on that? Am I get the right name?
Yes.
That's where it all started. Boulder, Colorado, this legalization of the recreational use of marijuana. They filled up the football stadium and they all lit up together. So very liberal, very libertarian. And then Denver, which is a hot mess. Aurora decided, hey, we're not going to be liberal and progressive anymore. This group, Tren de Agua, remember, came in with AK-47s and took over whole buildings. Basically collected the rent. Said, hey, you're going to live here? You paying Tren de Agua because we're the baddest hombres. Forget MS-13. We're in town. And remember, we all watched it on TV. Remember when we were watching it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, my God, man. The Guardian Angels in Denver are being asked to come down Colfax into Aurora, which is right next door. Man, these guys got AK-47s. I got to figure this out. But before I could figure it out, the governor right there, beautiful capital in Colfax in Denver, what, it's an over-exaggeration. What are you talking about? It's the perception. This is what the Democrats say. It's the perception. Meantime, the tenants are saying, yeah, these Venezuelans coming in with tattoos on their head. F you, America. Pay us now in Spanish. They get all tatted up. AK-47s. And the governor said, that's a perception. That's a perception. So what happened over the weekend? Tom Homan, the border czar, and I said, hey, mayor in Denver, hey, governor, you want to come out? Because we just found where all of Tren de Agua parties, believe it or not, Nancy, they set up a freaking nightclub. A freaking nightclub. Now, you would think you got to be licensed, right? You have an occupancy, fire department, fire marshal. That's a FU. We're Tren de Agua. So basically, Tom Holman and I said, really? So let's wait for Saturday night when they're packed. And they swept in there with the ice buses and they loaded up the buses. Cash, weapons, guns, drugs, and this pink cocaine, which P. Diddy was into, which has nothing to do with cocaine. So people, when you hear pink cocaine, these are hardcore narcotics. I don't know how the hell it got the name cocaine, because there's no cocaine in it at all. But this is the drug, remember, that the Fed seized from P. Diddy when he was having those freak-offs, right? And they busted him in his mansions in L.A. and in Miami, and they were taking out like what they call wheelbarrows full of this pink cocaine. Very, very trendy, very popular, very dangerous. Not quite at the level of fentanyl. So now, when they had these Tren de Agua gangbangers on the bus. Apparently, the mayor decided he wasn't going to come out there and lay in the street, and conduct an act of civil disobedience. You can't take my Venezuelan gangbangers away. The governor, he was too busy. He couldn't come out because ICE actually said any elected officials want to come out, we're more than happy to arrest you if you want to act in a manner. Because remember, he said, we'll all be out in the streets, the citizens of Denver. You'll never be able to take away any of our Tren de Agua gangbangers. Well, guess what? The Denver residents were too busy smoking weed. They were watching it and saying, more weed for us, less for them. Because, let's face it, Tren de Agua, the next thing they were going to do is take over all the legal weed shops at gunpoint. So, everybody smoking weed there was happy because, man, once they control, the cartels control that, it's not like supply and demand. It's like, you want weed, an AK-47 in your face, you either pay us in cash or we're going to put a bullet in your head. So that's one. That's one, right? Number two. ICE in New York arrested a Turkish terrorist. Eric Adams, swagger man with a plan to get a pardon, did not complain. He can't complain about anything involving Turkey because he's indicted 5 times on taking money from Erdogan, from a businessman who then made illegal campaign contributions to him, Turkish in Brooklyn. So he took the code of Omerta. Say, hey, guys, good, but I can't say it because I'm under an order, a city order, that I cannot allow any of our city agencies to cooperate with you. Could you give me the breaking news sounder here? Breaking news. I want to let our listeners know there's really good news occurring here.
Breaking news, WABC.
So, the new police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, passed the Great Poupon. Chiefs, could you fetch the stretch limo? I'm not taking the subway down to One Police Plaza. Heavens to Betsy, no. Issued a executive order from the 14th floor One Police Plaza ordering the NYPD to have no cooperation with ICE agents at all.
Wait, what?
Yeah, no cooperation.
Why?
Well, because supposedly we'd be breaking the law. You know how the mayor says, we don't break the law. Yeah, that's how you got indicted 5 times, pal. Stop the nonsense. So she issued this order last Saturday. And I'm not going to give you up, cops who've called me. They have violated the order, and they are actually calling up immigration and naturalization agents on their own, ICE, and they are ratting out the bad hombres. I want to give them a standing ovation. Corrections, court officers, and NYPD who are spitting in the face of their commissioners, and to a degree the mayor, and they're saying, we're not going to follow your freaking law that makes us a sanctuary city. And do you know the executive order was so bad, Nancy? It said to the police department, if you have knowledge of where a bad hombre is living, meaning somebody who's committed crimes, or a judge has ordered them deported, they showed up for their federal hearing after like 5 years, downtown Foley Square, and the judge ruled, no, you're going to have to be deported on this day. Turn yourself over to ICE agents. They'll take you to Vesey Street or Elizabeth, and we're going to send you back to your country of origin because you haven't proved that you are an asylum seeker. So naturally, they do the bird. So cops are aware of this. They're being told by the police commissioner, take the code of Omerta. Even if you have knowledge that these are illegal aliens who have committed crimes, or a judge had already ordered them to be deported and they just didn't show up for... You would think if the judge is ordering them to be deported, they're going to take them into custody, right? No, we're going to give you an opportunity to go home, say goodbye to your friends and relatives, basically settle your estate, transfer the money that you've saved here, and, you'll buy yourself a mansion back there, because that's what some of the folks do. They're here to make money. They're not here for asylum. They're here to make money. And do you know what most of them do when they're ordered to return and show up on a day to the federal building downtown in Foley Square and prepare to be transferred to ICE? They don't show up. Shocking! Shocking that they wouldn't show up. So Jessica Tisch has ordered the entire, because she's a lawyer from Harvard. Naturally, we can't break the law, can we? The au pairs on Park Avenue, many of them are illegal. Let's not say anything about all those au pairs because
God, au pairs.
Yes, they take care of the children of the rich, the wealthy.
That's like a very nuanced thing, taking care of one's own child.
Well, you remember the case of Kimber Woods, who would have become a United States Supreme Court justice. Yeah. Bill Clinton at that time could fill. I forget who it was that was leaving. And she got busted hiring an illegal alien. Of course. You can't touch our illegal aliens. They're our au pairs. They take care of the lawns in the Hamptons. They are our cooks. They are sometimes, need I dare say, our valets.
Don't they trust them with their kids?
Oh, are you? Nancy,
that's what I'm saying. That's the more important thing. Like, they're like
sanctimonious hypocrites that they are.
Yeah.
They'll show up in a van to a local Home Depot out in Long Island, right? Yeah. Where day laborers are waiting all day, starting at like 4 a.m. These people work hard. $80 and a box lunch, and they'll work till till it's nighttime. Yeah. And they pick them all up. They trust them in their house. Hey, we got a flood in the basement. What about all this black stuff on the wall? What do they call that stuff? The black
mold?
Stuff? Yeah, black mold. We don't need no gloves, no hazmat suits, nobody. We'll get rid of it. And they do. They do a great job. And these same people are the ones saying, that's right, deport them all. But don't take our au pairs, and please. Jose does so good with the lawn care. And, the food preparation and all that. Oh, just get the ones who are like, the gangbangers and drug dealers. Leave our illegal aliens alone. So she issues this executive order that basically says if you have knowledge as a police officer of an illegal alien that a federal judge has ordered deported because they did not, in a satisfactory way, make their case that they are asylum seekers, could have taken 3-5 years. And instead of and why they wait to give them 30 days, turn yourself in at the federal building fully. Come on, what kind of schmucks and putzes do these federal judges think? Hey, if I were an illegal alien and you said, yeah, you got to go back to the favelas in Venezuela. Sorry, bye-bye. I'm finding a place in Corona and mixing in. See if you can find me. I mean, it's total lunacy. But sometimes they actually catch these people. And Jessica Tisch is saying, if you have knowledge, you are not to report them. And if you know they've committed crimes, you are not to report them. Oh, what do they got to do, Jessica Tisch? Put window shades on their eyes, a zipper on their mouth, and cotton balls in their ears. I want to give an outstanding round of applause to those police officers, those officers in corrections on Rikers, those court officers who are defying the commissioners who claim that we are a sanctuary city and we are not to cooperate with ICE, La Migra, Immigration and Naturalization. And Tom Homan, bring your ICE bus and put any of our commissioners who decide not to cooperate with ICE, put them on the ICE bus and put them on Rikers Island, put them on the Rock for about a week. And I guarantee you they will be very compliant. Oh, Jessica Tisch, the Rock. You're going to put me in the women's jail there with transgenders who now can be housed with the women? No! We'll cooperate with Tom Homan. See. Now, did you hear this anywhere?
I did not.
You see, that's why you listen to Curtis with Nancy for breaking news. Because the other mainstream news, they don't tell you this. Could I hear the breaking news sounder here, please? I love the sound of breaking news.
Breaking news, WABC.
So again, I'm going to repeat it. You're hearing it here first. Members of the NYP, members of the Department of Corrections, members who are court officers are now defying their own commissioners. And, in fact, Eric Adams, although he's trying to do the double Dutch, he's trying to say, yeah, we're going to cooperate, but the law won't let me. And they are, thank God, picking up the telephone, calling ICE, and reporting these bad hombres and helping them to be taken away. I don't know if that's the case of this Turkish terrorist. We know that Eric Adams wouldn't report a Turkish terrorist. Hell no. But ICE just collared one, and there are many more. Hey, excuse me. Borough Park. There are a number of cafes and cabarets, the Tajiks from Tajikistan. You know, there's Uzbekistan, there's Kurdistan, there's Tajikistan, there's every stand imaginable. Tajikistan, the Tajiks are the most violent Islamists in the world, and they're living in Borough Park. ICE, I'm here. Hello, Tom, I'll lead it. I'll lead the charge. And these guys are preaching jihad right in Brooklyn. But according to our police commissioner, Jessica Tisch, the mayor, any other commissioner, you are not to convey this information to ICE. Hello, I'm a free agent here. I'll be more than happy. Tom, I realize you're busy, busting those Venezuelan gangbangers in Denver and daring the governor and the mayor to do anything. I'm ready. I can handle this. They hate it when I walk into their cafes in Borough Park. They say, oh, no, here he comes, the troublemaker. You're damn right I'm trouble. And we go through a few of these other locations here. Mm-hmm. Los Angeles. Now, this is problematic. As you know, the president and Madam First Lady went out there to view the devastation, and it is bad. It's going to cost gazillions of dollars to put back together what has been burnt down. This is a long-term issue because we want to make sure it doesn't happen again and again and again because it is a desert area. People should know Southern California. There's too much density housing. They have done nothing to remove the scrub that they find. Oh, it's very aesthetic looking, in front of my ranch house, in front of my mansion. And it collects in the valleys. So when these fires come across, fueled by the Santa Ana winds, man, 80, 100 mile an hour winds. It's almost impossible for the fire department to control it. So that's a long-term issue. The people, who do you think are the people cleaning up the messes, Matt, Blaze, all these? Who do you think is out there working to clean up the messes? Do you think the homeowners? Well, they're going in looking to see if any of their relics and their prized possession. Well, who do you think is going to clean up all these toxins? Hey, Miguel, Jose, Home Depot, 4:30 in the morning, $80, a box lunch, no gloves, no hazmat suit, no problem. We got it. And they'll have a whole family from Calexico, right? They'll fill that van. They'll work morning, noon, and night, exposing themselves to PCBs, all these toxic chemicals. They'll do the job. So right now, I guess the president won't acknowledge this. But you can't do that many raids in Los Angeles. Yeah, the gangbangers, yes. But not the workers. Because how are you going to clean up all these areas? You think that American kids attending UCLA, USC, you think Stanford, you think they're going to, hey, I want to volunteer. They want to volunteer to go cut sugar cane in Cuba, the Venceremos Brigade. But I ain't going into that toxic wasteland. You can't pay me enough to give up my Game Boy and go into that toxic wasteland. So I know our listeners don't like to hear this, Nancy. But without the illegal aliens in Los Angeles County, which Los Angeles City, they actually outnumber the legal residents, you would never be able to clean up that mess. You would never. There got to be a way to figure out, okay, this is what I would do. If you're willing to help clean this place up, we're going to put you on a pathway to citizenship because you could be dead in 2 years, from cancers and toxins. It's not quite, the 9/11 situation, but it's bad. And anybody who's in that field, and we've known people in the Guardian Angels, they go in, they do when there's chemical problems, when there's been floods and hurricanes. Marcus Dent. Yeah. Actually, he earned his money this way. They go in there, hazmat suits. I mean, every conceivable protective item of garbage. And the biggest thing he told us every time we visit him in Baltimore, I can't find people to hire. We're paying $50 an hour and benefits. But they don't want to do this work because they realize you can get very sick. Cancer, thyroid, just like in the aftermath of 9/11. These illegal aliens, where do you want us to go? $80 a day box lunch. That's all we need. So they're trying to figure that out in L.A. right now. I suggest the art of the deal, the president, he's good at this. Sit down, figure this out. Because without these illegal aliens in Los Angeles County, Los Angeles, Ventura County, San Diego County, ain't nobody cleaning that. You think those homeowners are going to go out there and clean up? No. They're looking to see if there are any of the family heirlooms left. You know, things of special importance. They're crying. Anybody would be crying. We feel for them. But they ain't going to go out there with the rakes and the shovels and come in with the backhoes and the dozers that kick up all that dust that then they would have to inhale. That could cause them medical issues and shorten their life. You see, where else are you going to hear discussion like, right, my place? Did anybody bring this up? Anybody bring this up? This is the reality. Now, they took out some child rapists in Seattle, and I'm wondering if the local population there that hates ICE is actually saying, well, for child rape, we can understand that. Yeah. And by the way, the guy who wants to run for mayor, he hasn't announced yet. Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, right? I wonder if Tom Homan could go visit Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo, because what did he say over and over?
New York State is the state that says we will not cooperate with ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. He politicized ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. We said we will sue them if they violate any criminal laws in the state of New York.
Tom, I'm going to get in touch with Tom. I've been on shows with him, but I never really knew him. I say, Tom, we know where Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo lives now. He's back on Sutton Place because he wants to run for mayor. That's where he's registered to vote. But, Tom, I want you to hear what he has bragged about. Tom, listen to this, Tom.
New York State is the state that says we will not cooperate with ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. He politicized ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. We said we will sue them if they violate any criminal laws in the state of New York.
Hey, Andrew, you're a lawyer, right?
Yeah, how'd
Andrew?
that work out for you, Andrew?
Yeah, you're a lawyer, Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. From your plush apartment that you only have there to show that you actually live in New York City and you vote there, why don't you file a lawsuit, Andrew, against ICE, Immigration and Naturalization Service, huh? Out in the Hamptons where you spend all your time with your brother Fredo, Chris, who's got one muscle between his ears. If there's a dumber guy alive, I don't know who he is, than Chris Cuomo. Why don't you file a lawsuit, Andrew? Wait a second. What did Andrew say? Hold on. I want to hear that a third time. Hey, Andrew, all these illegal aliens being deported now, they need you in New York State. They really do, Andrew. Leave your mansion in Southampton. Come down from your retreat on Sutton Place and help your amigos. Sue Tom Homan. Sue ICE.
New York State is the state that says we will not cooperate with ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. He politicized ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. We said we will sue them if they violate any criminal laws in the state of New York.
You ever apologize for that, Nancy? You know?
There's a lot he has not apologized for.
Yeah. That's one of many. And then the best one who did the pivot and shift. Juan Valdez. Remember Juan Valdez, the guy in the hills of Colombia picking the Colombia coffee beans and not the cocoa leaves? Juan Valdez. Let's get it straight. But the Colombian president, Gustavo Petro, very left-wing, very progressive. He has been elected, duly elected president of Colombia. And he refused the 2 United States military flights of his citizens, Colombians. If you've ever seen Scarface with Al Pacino, remember when they went to visit their Colombian drug lords? Remember how that one guy
was great,
dangling from the helicopter, and he goes, "Hey, we're dealing with you from now on." Yeah, I never liked that guy to begin with, right?
That was a great movie.
The home of the Medellin and the Cali cartels, right? Pablo Escobar, who was the only guy in the world who had more expensive suits, customized suits, than Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan. Really, I knew his tailor. He used to come in and tailor Johnny Legit's suits. Say, yeah, I can't do it for Pablo. You know, he's dead. Yeah, I know that. Well, Legit said, this guy's the best, man. I mean, who knows? Maybe this guy is making suits for Eric Adams now, the $5,000 customized suits. So you got the Cali cartel. You got the Medellin cartel. He refused to allow the 2 United States military flights to land, which they can do, in Bogota. And so the president of the United States said, oh, you're a tough guy, huh? You think you're tough? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to put a tariff on your products in Colombia. Not your cocaine, but your Colombian coffee beans of Juan Valdez. And coffee's already expensive enough, right? It's skyrocketing.
Yes, it is.
But we're also going to establish a travel ban on Colombia. Oh, did that get his attention? So now the president of Colombia, Gustavo Petro, said, you can even use my Colombian presidential plane to transport our Colombian nationals back to Bogota.
All right.
Boy, has he seen the light. Can I hear Andrew Evil Eyes come on? We got to do it a fourth time because this guy, he acts like he's a tough guy, right? ICE of thugs, Andrew, really?
New York State is the state that says we will not cooperate with ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. He politicized ICE. They're a bunch of thugs. We said we will sue them if they violate any criminal laws in the state of New York.
Tough guy, huh? You're registered with the bar. You're an attorney. You can sue. Notice how he's been quiet. Notice how the rest of the media, they don't ask him that question. Because they protect Andrew Evil Eyes Cuomo. Andrew, you can't run, you can't hide on this issue. Your own words are going to sink you because I'm going to Tom Homan, the toughest, roughest amigo in America. I want you to threaten to sue him and tell him that his ICE agents are thugs.
We will not cooperate with ICE. They're a bunch of thugs.
WABC. New York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
We're settling all scores. Oh, yeah. Wait, coming up. Catholic Charities as Vice President J.D. Vance says, you're screaming at us now that we're like violating illegal alien rights, huh? You want to give the $100 million back that we gave you in the Biden administration to bring them across the border? You want to give them back? The $100 million of our tax dollars that nobody knew about except Curtis Sliwa was saying it on a regular basis. Wasn't he? Wasn't he, Matt Blaze, huh? And boy, they were saying I was a heretic. I should burn in hell. The Pope actually said it's a grave sin, Pope Francis, if you don't allow for open borders. He said that our president, Donald Trump, was committing a grave sin. Well, I noticed the Vatican has walls all around it. Hey, you got any illegal aliens there, Padre? Sanctimonious hypocrites. It took J.D. Vance to say that, Nancy. Again, he was an evangelical who became a convert. And you know converts, they always got to prove they're converts, you know. Roman Catholic 2019. So, the Conference of Catholic Bishops said this is despicable. Despise Trump, ICE, Tom Homan, and everybody else who's getting rid of these bad hombres. Remember, they're getting rid of criminals and those who already had their federal court hearing about their sanctuary status, and it was ruled that they don't qualify to be sanctuary, and they were given 30 days, take care of your effects. and, we're going to ship you back. You're not going to have to pay anything. You could take whatever money you made here because they can't put it in a bank, and you'll live like kings and queens back in your country of origin. And what do? They do the bird. So ICE clips him and says, hey, you didn't even show up. We got to do our job. The Pope says you're committing a grave sin. We want America to have open borders. Really, Pope Francis. You like American money, right? You like American parishioners putting it on the plate, right? Hey, you got the Bishop's Fund on Sunday. You got the Cardinals Fund. You got the school fund. You got the parish fund. You go to a Catholic church lately, you got to take a payday loan and a reverse mortgage to put money in the basket. Oh, but Curtis, you're evil. We should excommunicate you. How dare you challenge Catholic charities? Well, I guess you're going to have to do it to the Vice President of the United States because he was on interview after interview saying, oh, really? We're bad, Catholic Church? We're evil? Where's the $100 million the taxpayers gave you? Where is it? We want a full accounting. I've been saying this for how long, Nancy? How long have I been saying this?
A very long time.
Ostracize. Oh, Curtis is evil. We should excommunicate him. Go ahead. Excommunicate me. Do me a solid. Why would I want to be connected to a church that ripped off the taxpayers for $100 million and can't even answer the Vice President of the United States, a Catholic in good standing, J.D. Vance? Where's the $100 million? Have they answered yet? Where the $100 million?
No, it's still a mystery.
It's probably in the Vatican Bank, the most corrupt money laundering institution that has ever existed. You're a narco-terrorist, you're a sex trafficker, you're a member of La Cosa Nostra. Where do you want to do your banking? You're a crooked politician. Vatican Bank. Oh, now, will I get apologies? Of course not. No. Okay, remember, lead story tonight. J.D. Vance, Vice President of the United States, says we gave Catholic Charities $100 million to bring the illegal aliens in. We want a full accounting of the money. Oh, we're a religious institution. You can't expect us to account. Yes, you took tax dollars from Biden, the most Catholic of all presidents, right? Where's the money? Let's see the invoices, receipts. Let's see how you spent it. Were you the ones who encouraged them in El Paso to come to New York? And by the way, didn't our mayor, Eric Adams, swagger man with no plan? Now he has a plan to get a pardon from Trump. Didn't he go meet the Pope, Pope Francis?
Oh, he did do that.
While Colombia was being taken over by the demonstrators, he just picked up and left, as Sid says every morning. In fact, we're honoring Sid tomorrow. It's his 9th year of broadcasting here at WABC. But when the Pope Francis, met with Eric Adams, he said, you are the kind of politician who should be honored because you have welcomed our fellow citizens in. He used fellow citizens, migrants. You've taken care of them. You're doing God's work. And Eric loved that. Oh, you got blessed by Pope Francis and then him. And, oh, yeah, that's right. He's being investigated right now, the Eastern District. Frank Carone. And, hey, Monsignor Jamie, hello. You all visited the Vatican Bank while you were there. That's why you're being investigated by the Eastern District. All three of them were like taken. You see, when you go to the Vatican Bank, you got to be there in person. No money orders, no wires, no. You gotta check on your account. Matt, you're a fugitive. You should know that by now. So, Frank Carone and Monsignor Jamie are being investigated for what the hell they were doing in Rome. I know. Everybody knows. You don't have to
for forgiveness?
Yeah, forgiveness. Yeah, sure. And to check up on their account.
Oh, that too.
But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, these are the developments. But now the fact that the Vice President of the United States has taken to the bully pulpit and is taking on the Conference of Catholic Bishops who have said what Trump and Tom Homan and J.D. Vance are doing in any law enforcement, who are members of ICE. It's evil. It's a grave sin. Hey, House of Pedophilia, get your own freaking act in order before you start criticizing others. How many of you have had to declare bankruptcy because you can't keep the priest's hands off the little kids? Sanctimonious hypocrites. Okay, hey, $100 million. Where's the money? Show us. Where are the invoices? You should. Don't you have any paper to show us what you did with our freaking money as you brought these illegal aliens in? No comment. No comment. Hey, enough of the choral music. Nancy, a very good religious Catholic, at least he claims he is, the evil Dr. Fauci, who grew up in Bensonhurst. His father was a pharmacist. He went to the very prestigious Regis High School, academic number one high school out of the Jesuit high schools. But you know it's a weak school because they don't have a football team. But he was the captain of the basketball team that went like 0-21. They were like the old Washington Generals who always lost to the Globetrotters. Their team sucked, and he did too. But that's sport. Let's discuss the fact that he told us over and over again that the coronavirus, which then became COVID-19, actually came out of that wet shop in Wuhan where they would take animals in cages and they would kill them on the spot, and then you could either have it prepared there or take it home and eat. And that's how this virus got out, right?
Supposedly.
And the Biden CIA, Criminals in Action, said, oh, yeah, that's right. But others were saying, no, the Wuhan lab. What about the Wuhan lab? Hey, Fauci, what about the Wuhan lab that you used our tax dollars to finance their bio-research into creating toxic agents that could destroy every living man, woman, and child on the earth? Not a very Catholic thing to do, huh? But also, it's with our tax dollars. Now, what is the CIA, the deep state, Criminals in Action? Now, what are they saying, Nancy?
Well, now they're going back to the Wuhan leak theory. So apparently it's been on the table for a long time, and it might have been just the political implications, supposedly during the Biden administration, because they didn't want to start a sort of a geopolitical warfare with them. But John Radcliffe, who's the new director of the CIA, has always been presenting this theory because there has been evidence on that. And now that he is the director, he's promoting it as, the actual, theory in terms of how this did come about. And the Wuhan Institute of Virology apparently has pretty low protocols when it comes to safety and protecting these viruses in the first place. So it really comes down to their complete inability to have contained this virus. And that's what was found out. That
Shocking.
Shocking. The same way everyone's walking in and getting bird flu now.
There's gambling in Casino. What the hell was that, Casino, or whatever the place that is? Shocking. So we funded that lab. Dr. Fauci, because he didn't have to answer to anybody, took our tax dollars, the good Catholic boy that Dr. Fauci is, to help research toxins that could destroy every man, woman, and child and animals in the world.
He has a history of doing that, though. That's kind of his thing, just playing around with really contagious viruses. So no wonder why he got that pre-pardon from Joe Biden. Yeah, I mean, that's some evil stuff to be doing. And, of course, this idea that, the reason why why this doesn't exist, as kind of sick as we are in the U.S., the reason why you still can't do that is there is protocols and you don't want to release this virus. So if they want to study it, they just go to another country that doesn't have the same level of protection. But therein lies the problem. They don't have it, and then it just leaks out, and they're like, oops, we're not going to tell nobody.
So the deep state that none of us trust, CIA, Criminals in Action, we've now changed directors. It's a Trump director instead of a Biden director. They've now had an epiphany. They are now saying, it was actually a leak in that biochemical lab in Wuhan that was creating toxins that could destroy every man, woman, and child and animal in the world.
Nasty.
And it was funded by who? The evil. Oh, church-going, good Catholic that he is, Dr. Fauci, with our money. And now, the most Catholic of all Catholic presidents, Joe Biden, has given him a pre-pardon so he can never be prosecuted for this. You should burn in hell, Fauci. And by the way, as you saw, she posted on her Instagram, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis was with me at New Utrecht High School when we were installing Steve Chan the man, the Republican, former cop, former United States military member with the Marines, who is now representing that part of Brooklyn, Bensonhurst, that south part of Brooklyn, as the Republican state legislature, which means that the Senate, state Senate Democrats no longer have a veto-proof majority. He broke that. And she said to me, we got to get Dr. Fauci for what he did to the Beagles. Remember how he outsourced to Tunisia? The torture of the Beagles. We got to talk about this in animal welfare also, where they put the collars around their head and they put the sand fleas on them and they ate their flesh as these Beagles hollered and cried.
Yeah, right. That's why you got to start defunding the National Institute of Health. It starts there.
And by the way, Fauci has never answered, why did you do that? For what medical reason?
Well, the problem with a lot of these, different organizations is they just get the grants, and as long as you put down on the piece of paperwork something really lofty, like we're gonna solve this this particular ailment, there is no one who's overseeing that stuff. You can keep doing the same test over and over and over again, and you'll still keep getting funded, and that's again another problem. People need to stop donating their money to these. A lot of this usually happens in colleges, higher institutes of learning. They have all of their testing going on. So,
in this case, Tunisia got our tax dollars.
Yeah, that's the National Institute.
Courtesy of Fauci, who would never explain why. I bet you he was in his office watching this, these videos. Like Hitler used to watch pictures of his enemies being hung with piano wire and get off on it. I'll bet you Fauci was sitting in his office watching these Beagles scream in pain. Oh, you sadist, masochist, huh? Fauci, good Catholic boy, Fauci. And now you got a pre-pardon to prevent you from doing crime for your time. You will burn in hell.
WABC. New York's talk station with the king of New York. Curtis Sliwa, 77 WABC. Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC and Curtis Sliwa.
In one moment, my fate was sealed. The other side of midnight is real. With one touch, I knew the world was right. On the other side of midnight.
Nancy, it was our pleasure to be with so many great folks in Annandale earlier on Sunday.
This is true.
At the diner, I call it the diner. What do they call it?
Annandale Terrace.
Yeah, the Terrace. It's the spot that everybody goes. And they were there for two purposes. They were there to honor the outgoing city councilman, Joe Borelli, whose term limited out after this year. But he's got a family, he's got growing needs. They don't really make a lot of money unless they're grifters, and Joe Borelli is not. So he's moving on to the private sector. I hope he comes back to politics. Look, as you know, Nancy, I've had my go-rounds with Joe. But as he said to the crowd today, he goes, Curtis will tell you right to your face, and then you want to get on with him, he'll get down with you. And we have, and he explained that. But he's leaving in good graces as a minority leader of the city council of the Republicans. And it was really a transition because his very dear friend, our own Frank Morano, host of The Other Side of Midnight, I'm going to give him this song that was done for me by David Crosby, special. I always said you can't use that because I do the best side of The Other Side of Midnight on the weekends, but I'm going to gift this to him. It's really a great song. And it really brought together so many people from mostly Staten Island, but also other parts of the 5 boroughs and even New Jersey, who were there to honor Joe Borelli and honor our own Frank Morano, who's transitioning now to take the place of Joe Borelli. So there'll be a special election as a result of Borelli leaving early, and then he's got to go through a general election. But he had Democrats there. He had some Democrats. There's Diane Savino, who has called me a cheech on the air, and they even said, here's Diane Savino here, and Curtis is here, and she's had to have security at her house ever since Curtis called her out. Well, there's peace between me and Diane Savino now. But she was there out of respect to Joe Borelli and mostly to Frank Morano. And there were other Democrats in that room and independents and a lot of our listeners. And Rachel was there, his lovely wife. And, of course, who else?
Pizza Slice. Pizza Slice. Pizza Slice.
Baby Carmine, who I'd rather hear now more than hear Frank Morano on the air. It was really a celebration of how you can have transition and actually serve the residents of the areas you've grown in without looking to do self-serving, meaning making money for yourself at the expense of everyone else. And it was a really great transition. So we wish Frank the best. We wish Rachel and little Carmine.
Pizza Slice. Pizza Slice. Pizza Slice.
That's all the kid is obsessed to get a slice of pizza. Now, that's going to help in that district, South Shore, Staten Island, because there's a pizzeria like every other block. Mostly Italian, let's face it. You got a vowel at the end of your name. You're like halfway there. When I was running for mayor, they said, that doesn't sound like an Italian name, Sliwa, but he's got a vowel at the end of his name. Yeah, well, I'm part Italian. Oh, that must be it. They bought that. Hey, how was you going to tell that's Polish, right? It's an odd sort of Italian name. Yeah, you're always using Italian phraseology. Boy, that saved me out there. But it was a celebration of WABC, Nancy. All the listeners, these are politicos, so it wasn't like citizens were invited, but they listened to WABC morning, noon, and night. Democrats and Republicans, because this is the place that they have to listen to, even if they disagree with us. And they all start in the morning with Sid, the most listened to of all the shows here at WABC. Now voted by Barrett Media, the number one talk show host in the nation. And the numbers don't lie. And tomorrow, you don't want to miss the show. It's a celebration of Sid broadcasting here 9 years. I remember, Nancy, the old WABC, Cumulus owned it and wanted to wreck us like they wrecked Nash, the country station, put them out of business. WPLJ, one of the most iconic call-lettered FM stations. They killed it. And we were slated to be killed until John and Margot Katzimatidis rescued us with the help of Chad Lopez, and we went from 0 to number 1. We were below WFUV, the Fordham radio station, which is a very good radio station, but they had better ratings than us. We're nowhere near the 50,000 powerful watts of sound. That's how bad it was. And the predictions, Nancy, were Sid Rosenberg will self-destruct. He won't last 9 months. He may not even last 9 weeks as he partnered up with his lifelong friend, Bernard McGurk, who we miss so dearly. We really do. Boy, what a great guy he was. And we miss him. But that's why Sid was brought back. Bernard could have done the mid-morning show replacing Rivera by himself. But you know what Bernard said? I always dreamed of doing a show with Sid. All the years we were tortured by Don Imus, and they were tortured. I know I got a bird's eye view. I'd be in the control room when Imus took my job with then Kubi. They kept me, wouldn't let me go over to WOR, Women's Only Radio. They embargoed me, and they fired Kubi. Oh, there's a lot we're going to discuss tomorrow, but it's the transition. Frank Morano's done. They wouldn't let him broadcast at the old WABC. AM 970, they marginalized him. John and Margot and Chad allowed him his dream come true, and he's a great broadcaster. He's one of the best.